question remains. No! Sam! Was it all worth it?
What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So 46 days left until what is easily my most anticipated game of all time probably is coming out. Of course I'm talking about Uncharted 4: Thieves' End, and as we get closer to the launch of the game we get more trailers, more information, there's lots of stuff to talk about, so it's all very exciting. And today I wanted to make a video talking about two new things that we saw and that we got today, which is first of all a new trailer, and second of all a quick little rumor that's currently going on about the multiplayer component of the game. So I'm going to get into that at the end of the video, but for now let's first talk about that new trailer. So PlayStation uploaded a new CGI trailer. Now it was only 30 seconds and I got many people to ask me to make a video about it, but as I said, because it was so short, it's hard to really talk about many things here because we didn't see that much, but at the same time I'll try to kind of share my thoughts with you. So I thought that the trailer in itself was very cool, you know, we know that PlayStation kind of gets these probably different companies to make those CGI trailers for them, because we also got one called The Man Behind the Treasure for Uncharted 4, so this is very much in line with that one. Once again, a new CGI trailer, and it starts us off with a great scene where Drake appears to be sitting in a building that is on fire, kind of reflecting his choices that he's made so far in the game, also pretty much explaining the overall plot of, you know, what Uncharted 4: Thieves' End will be about, right? It's about him having had the opportunity to go back to a normal life with Elena, but no, he decided to go back into the treasure hunting lifestyle. Of course, Sam kind of forced him into that, and it seems to have had his, you know, its consequences now, where he's made some, or it pretty much ended up in some pretty bad things. We don't know what those are, of course, but it does seem like he didn't really make the right call, the right choice there, so he feels really sad about that, obviously. What follows then is a couple of scenes that we already saw in previous trailers, but now once again recreated in CGI. Like we see Drake fighting in the jungle, we see him in his living room together with Elena, he is hanging from the little jeep with Sam and Sully in it, he's on the motorbike together with Sam from that E3 demo. So once again, all these scenes that we already did see, but now kind of with a different spin because it's recreated in CGI. But there also are, what follows is two new scenes that we hadn't seen before. For example, we see him escaping what looks to be sort of like a mining tunnel where a huge explosion is about to hit Sam and Drake, so they're jumping away from that, and that's what we see. And almost the final shot of it is actually really interesting, where Sam is kind of hanging onto Drake's arm and Drake has to let go. And not just that, it also appears like they are on what looks to be a pirate ship. So we know that pirates are going to be a big part of the game. We know that's going to be, you know, what kind of the whole storyline is going to be about. They're going to be following this certain pirate, you know, Henry Avery. But why would they be on what looks to be a real pirate ship or a real ship? It's very interesting, very exciting at the same time, but I literally have no clue why they would be on there. Then again, of course, as I said, Sam hangs onto Drake's arm and Drake has to let him go, which makes many people speculate, is this going to be Sam's death or anything like that? I don't think so at all, because it's pretty simple. They wouldn't spoil anything like this in the trailers, right? They wouldn't already show you stuff like this. The stuff that's really going to have an impact in the end in the game is going to be, you know, are going to be things that we haven't seen yet in the trailers. So no worries about that. Everything we're seeing in these trailers, nothing really is probably going to have a consequence in the game itself yet. So I definitely don't think that, you know, if Sam is going to die in the game, that it's going to happen here or anything like that. But yeah, it is very interesting that they are on an actual pirate ship. So the trailer in itself, as I said, does a great job of actually getting us hyped once more. So I thought it was really cool, but for now I wanted to move on about another quick little rumor that comes from a guy called Shinobi602. He's pretty much like an industry insider who very often, you know, leaks things about upcoming games and stuff. And he has a track record of being right many times, so I definitely take him quite seriously here. And what he tweeted is that it looks like Uncharted 4 multiplayer won't actually be on the disc itself, but will be a separate download. So what that means is that if you don't get the digital but the physical version, the one on disc, of course you can very easily install the game, but only what's looking to be the single player then on your PS4, and the multiplayer will be separately downloaded at the same time. Of course you still get it if you buy the game, it's nothing like that, of course, but yeah, it looks like, you know, the full game game won't, on disc at least, contain the multiplayer. And we know that the game has gone gold now. It fills up the full 50 gigabytes of the Blu-ray disc, so maybe they just didn't have space anymore to actually include the multiplayer on there either. And all that tells us really is that the game is going to be massive, right? Like, this is not a bad thing in any way. It simply means they needed more than 50 gigabytes to put everything, you know, together. So in that way, they could have used multiple discs, or of course, they could have let you separately download it at the same time after you install everything that's on the disc, which will only be the single player campaign. So once again, all that tells me is that the game is going to be absolutely massive, and I think that's awesome because, of course, you know, what fills up a lot of this space on a Blu-ray disc usually has to do with textures and graphical stuff, basically. So we already know that the game is going to look incredible, right? So I think that's pretty much the reason. But anyway, I myself would totally not be against that. I think it's only awesome that the game is going to be so absolutely huge. So with that being said, that was everything I wanted to talk about today with you. So let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comments. What did you think about the new trailer for the game? And what do you think about this rumor that the multiplayer won't be included on the disc? And then for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again next time.